Looking at the World Bank report, like we told you earlier before we went on the break, the report is actually titled Turning the Corner, Time to Move from Reforms to Results. Reforms are actually meant to better the lives of the people. But the reforms embarked upon so far by this government, how good is the lives of Nigeria as at now? If you look at the World Bank report, it says that 104 million Nigerians are now living under the poverty line. That is an increase from 94 million in 2021 to 100 million in 2022, and now in 2023 is actually 104 million people. Additional 4 million people have joined since the reform started. It could be more, but based on World Bank report, that is what we have. Let's talk to an economist, Steve Nwachukwu. He joined me virtually from Abuja here. Good morning, Mr. Steve.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's quickly get your reaction to this World Bank report. What do you make of that report? It is titled, Turning the Corner, Time to Move from Reform to Results. Is it not too early for them to start, giving us this timeline?
Unfortunately, that's the situation. A couple of us, most of us, daily basis, writing articles, publishing them, appearing on daily national newspapers and news media to name the voices that most of the recent economic policies or forms of this very current administration, this successive administration, have not been going down well with Nigerians. I would say that the World Bank or the sister agency of IMF should not be in position of law stakes, because most of the decisions of this current administration and successive administration has always been caught on perhaps quite false or advise, ill-conceived policies that most of these very international organizations always advise federal government to toe the line, to liberalize your markets, take away subsidy, take away all forms of intervention, allow the market forces to determine prices and determine the fallout of the conditions of Nigeria. Unfortunately, the World Bank is coming out to read that very numbers that are not palatable. The idea and the concept support is good. Reports are to review to an impact assessments of most of the policies. Now they are coming out to tell the federal government the truth, that yes, we advise you, yes, we encourage you, but the way and manner you have implemented most key policies have not gone well with Nigerians. The income hardship, the unfortunately economic conditions these very policies throw Nigerians into have contributed to the migration of Nigerians into the poverty lane. The data and data are not really speaking well. Close to 145 million Nigerians are dimensionally poor. 104 of them are in poverty. Core poverty, according to the World Bank data, is 1.4 million Nigeria from somewhere around 90 million. It means that close to 50% of Nigerians are in advert poverty. So these data are showing that the twin policy of the federal government, of this twin policy government of floating, which resulted in division of Naira and 100% free fuel subsidy removal, have resulted in the economic hardship Nigerians are, most especially the urban. This is it. And the I like about that report is the urban poor statistics that reviews a greater percentage of Nigerians that live in the urban cities, that lives in townships like Abuja, like Port Harcourt, like Lagos, those that live in Asa, all those urban, across the whole state, they are worst hit because of transportation affects them more than that poor man in the village. Cost of food items affects them more affects that man in the urban or rural in the area. Cost of housing also affects them more than it affects any man in the rural or the native lands. So the urban poor is the worst hit. They are on daily basis facing the hardship. And we accept some pieces of government that will alleviate or cushion most of these very sufferings Nigerians are passing. The excess of government, the excess of leadership, any political leadership is the way of the people. Absolutely. Should form the center point or centage of all government policy, both fiscal and monetary policies. But we have seen the lack of touch of human and reality in most of these policies. It's not really good data, it's not really government, but that is the living realities we are passing through. Right. Like I said, the urban poor is the worst. Thank you.
I mean, quite a whole lot of submission there, Mr. Steve. You made mention about when this reform started, there was a lot of commendation from IMF, from the World Bank, and of course some other international agencies commending the federal government for a backing on the reform. Now we are actually, getting all this, report from the World Bank. As the government, when your reform is impoverishing your people, what are you supposed to do?
You have option that to reverse most of those reforms or put up a counter policy, a counter reforms, counter or that will improve the lives of people. That's what the government is expecting. Nothing stops the federal government, President Tinubu, reversing to the tone of 50% or 70% the removal of fuel subsidy. Nothing. Like I said, every government and every political leadership lives and stress on the fact that they care for welfare of the citizenry. This is the center point. The city is the anchor point of every policy. When it hurts people, when it impoverishes people based on your policies or reforms, you have no option than reverse it. Pride or arrogancy to make the center stage. It should be the people. At this point, government should both step. Reverse this on the fuel subsidy. If not 50%, 70%, barely implement it until a time no fuel subsidy anymore. Issue around the flotation. Don't allow the market forces to determine your exchange rate. In fact, we are an economic dependent economy where importation takes chunk of our balance of payment. Absolutely. So why would government allow inflation, imported inflation, to eat up on the economy that goes? Now, if you allow the float of currency, you say, yeah, the market force determines it to the 1,000 for $1 or 1,005. What it means that you are importing inflation. Those raw materials that Nigerians on basis, those manufacturers and factories demanded to finish their products, it constitutes the input cost. Absolutely. And they want it back to Nigerians. So it gets worse. Take, for instance, why we should not allow them forces to determine, or you should not go in of devaluation. 2023 budget, 2024 budget, when compared to, you find out that the 2024 budget can be termed as for nothing budget. It's bigger in figure, but in principle and in fundamentals, the 2020 budget is more richer, more fundamentally richer than 2024. Why say so? 2024 budget proposal is around 27.5 trillion. That is the figure officially. Yes, I know in the workings of the national, they may take you to somewhere 28 trillion, 28.5 trillion is expected. In fact, the federal government recently hinted that they reverse back to the National Assembly to assist as revenues improve. What am I trying to say? 2024 budget is around 27.5 trillion. Put it side by side the dollar. It's around $36.6 billion. That is the size of 24 budget. Ask me 2023. 2023 budget is around 1.7 or 21.7 trillion. Put it aside the dollar. The 2020 budget is around $50 billion. Which of them is much bigger?
Absolutely.
The 50 billion or the $6 billion? So that is why we do not devalue your currency. It's more like I said, nothing, robbing Peter and paying Paul. We should desist from such kind of policies that devalues Naira and make the purchases of Naira weaker. Right. My concern and concerns of most Nigerians who cares for this country should be on the seat of that 27.5 trillion to execute those budget line items. The strength of Naira to execute those budget line items, not on the 27.5 trillion or 1.5 trillion. No, our attention should be the strength, the purchasing power of that Naira to execute budget line items.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Steve, you also, World Bank did also say that the difficulties that we are actually experiencing right now is actually, transitory, that in within a very short time, things will normalize. But the question is, how short is going to be the time?
I think we should ask them that. How long? How long? Let me be honest with you. To continue in this trajectory in rhetorics, Naira continues to weaken and dip and all, like you are saying with Naira flotation. Naira is no longer floating. Naira sinking down the sea. If we don't do anything, wage war, defend and protect the Naira, and it falls down, the income hardship will worsen. Let's be honest, until we do the right things, which are the structural and fundamental policies around import, around substituting import, and producing what we consume or eat, we will continue to have daily issues lingering. If we don't deal with the issue of importation by aggressively backing of import substitution program or backward integration program, and let's talk about even the petrodots. At least we have crude here. What stops us to make sure that we produce, even if not 40 to 50, 60% of what we consume as petrol product, and lessen that very burden, that very pressure, the importation of petroleum products put on exchange market on daily, week, monthly basis. This is how to Naira. What stops us from cutting these oil taps so that we can up the crude oil production? We are around 2 million, 1.9 billion barrels per day. Prior before the restiveness, we were producing the Jonathan administration, the Yar'Adua administration or Passenger administration, producing close to 2 million and 9 to 2.1 million barrels per day, when there is even restiveness of their Delta youth. Now the rest is not there. Oil theft have taken over.
Mr. Steve,
can't government cut off this oil theft so that you up your production? These are the policies to defend Naira. Right. These are the right policies. Right. It's not a question of flotation. It's not a question of duration. It's a question of the fundamental structural things. What we do around this area, this is only where you have a stable exchange market and the standard of living, pricing, and other things that Nigerians pass through, which cost of transportation is going up. So I said, where I like this report, aspect of the urban poor, the source of the urban poor, on daily basis, urban poor is suffering from high cost of transportation. Urban poor is also suffering for high rental increase. The urban poor is suffering from the food items in the market.
Absolutely.
So government has to be decisive to tackle most of this. The World Bank should stop those rhetoric on daily basis to give us figures what are the architect of our challenge.
Has been asking the question as to where are the dollars from the NNPC. Nobody seems to bother to answer that question now. But let's also look at the other areas that the World Bank report captured. According to the report also, 443 billion naira is used for debt servicing by about 75 countries. Most of them actually are in Africa. The report also said that the Nigerian government, as it is right now, is paying subsidy probably through the back door because they told us that they have removed subsidy. That the realistic price of petroleum of fuel is 750 naira per liter.
Truth. That's the danger, and that is the truth. On hand, like I said, the twin policy of fuel subsidy and flotation or valuation of naira is of these very issues we are having. Before now, we are far better. Act on a future and ill-advised conceived policy on flotation and of fuel subsidy. They are two opposing policies. The Nigerian economy is not strong enough to absorb this very bad policy. That's the reality. If you're talking about by the international price, the petroleum price of fuel, the PMS, should be around that 70 that the World Bank is talking about. If the exchange rate of 700, in fact, if you allow the market to import, take away NSC, it should be somewhere 800, 850. If you are going by this very reckless parallels of 1,001, 1,200, the petroleum price for MS should be somewhere around 5,900. It's because the federal government will use agency of the NNPC to intervene. Maybe, yes, I know for sure the agency gets the from the Nigerian government or from CBN around 650. So what's actually saying that federal government should be giving NNPC at 650 and use 700, 750 or thereabouts, so that you might have that 750 naira liter. This is still ill-advised. We are the owners of the crude. This proceed of the crude is for us and is for the benefit of Nigerians. I don't know why government will do such kind of advice to start giving NNPC at the exchange of 700 or 750. Government should rather even give to him something than their benchmarks. 600, maybe 550 should be better. Until we deal with the issue of importing this very low product.
Just before we go, if you can do this in 30 seconds, with the coming of Dangote refinery and of course the Port Harcourt refinery expected to come up on stream by next year, are we not supposed to expect a downward review of petroleum price?
To be honest, the templates in determining the pricing of these very products, the one currently by the NNPC is 40, is fraudulent. Until we Nigerians are told how they come up with these very templates, like the exchange rates, the international sellings of crude and all that. We are not for sure say that coming in the Dangote refinery and that of the NNPC Port Harcourt refinery will not make it, because if we are still using the best practice or the international mark, it's still going to be the same. Right. It's assumed that Dangote buys crude at international. So every other cost done by international standards. So the price will relatively be the same. you will be saving is somewhere something like cost of haulage, or sorry, the insurance for importation, the vessel to the cost of transportation.
All
So that's all will be, and it's less than 10% or 15% of the entire cost. So until the NF comes up to tell us the right stamp or methodology of the pricing of petroleum products, the one that is favorable for us, not the international practice, the one that is favorable.
Steve Nwachukwu, an economist, I must thank you for your, very, very impressive contribution on Business Daily today. We appreciate your time on the show.
Thanks again for having me.
All right. With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back on Monday. I am Yusuf Akogu.